Right now, every man over 60 who still masturbates needs to hear this. What you don't know about your habits may be silently draining your sexual strength. I've watched men struggle with weaker erections, reduced sensation, and fading confidence, not because of age alone, but because of how they engage in self-pleasure. Almost no one talks about this. I'm Dr. Kalen Desai, and for over 2 decades, I've focused on sexual health in senior men. Every week in my clinic, I support men just like you through this exact challenge. This isn't about shame. It's about awareness, power, and taking back control. Masturbation isn't strictly good or bad. Done the wrong way, it restricts blood flow, disrupts hormone balance, and creates emotional distance. But done correctly, with mindfulness and balance, it can strengthen you. The key lies in technique, timing, and listening to your body's real needs. In this video, I'll share 6 hidden risks no one ever told you about, show you how to turn this habit into a tool for vitality, and teach you a natural 7-second technique to restore firmness and drive. No medications, no side effects, just practical, science-backed strategies designed for your age. Before we begin, drop 1 in the comments if this speaks to you, or 0 if it's all new. We read every comment and reply personally. Tap subscribe for honest senior health guidance. Let's begin with the first risk, one that quietly affects how you feel, deeply and daily. Risk 1. Emotional well-being. Let's address something rarely said out loud. There's a quiet drain on your energy that's easy to miss, but strong enough to steal your spark. If you've been using masturbation to escape stress, boredom, or loneliness, you may be slowly weakening yourself without knowing it. Take the case of Prakash, a 67-year-old retired architect from Indore. After years of precise work and enjoying hands-on hobbies like gardening and drawing, he began to feel constantly sluggish. His sleep remained stable. His medications hadn't changed. But his body felt like it was running on empty. "I don't get it, doctor," he told me. "I sleep, I eat well, but every morning I feel like my battery's already half drained. I'm ashamed to even mention it." That confusion and quiet shame is more common than you might imagine. And here's the truth. It's not a weakness of character. It's a physiological issue that deserves clarity and compassion. In Prakash's case, the root of his exhaustion was traced to something few men are taught. Excessive masturbation can raise levels of cortisol, your body's main stress hormone. Cortisol kicks your body into emergency mode, pulling resources to help it settle down. Over time, this repeated stimulation delays recovery, weakens metabolism, and turns a once simple act of release into something that saps your strength. You were meant to feel confident, resilient, and alive, not drained. But when self-pleasure becomes too frequent, it can spark a slow health decline. You move less, your muscles weaken, your stamina slips, and all of this quietly puts your heart, your brain, and your independence at risk. Many older men believe frequent ejaculation keeps them young and virile. That idea is powerful but misleading. After 60, hormonal shifts change how your body processes sexual release. Instead of energizing you, frequent stimulation may deplete your reserves. Here's a better path. Aim for moderation. 2 to 3 times per week is often ideal. Give your body recovery time. Support your hormones by eating nutrient-rich foods and drinking enough water. These small shifts add up. But this is just the beginning. While your body might be tired, your brain faces a more subtle and more dangerous risk. Risk 2. Brain's reward circuits. Now we shift from physical fatigue to something deeper. Your reward system. You deserve fulfilling intimacy, but you also deserve to know how dopamine can quietly trap you. Dopamine is your brain's pleasure signal. But in older brains, dopamine receptors become less sensitive. That means you need more stimulation to feel the same level of satisfaction you once did. What once brought pleasure may now feel flat, pushing you to repeat the act more often, in search of that original spark. Let me tell you about Sanjay, a 70-year-old retired school teacher from Kochi. His days were once full of routine, morning walks, crossword puzzles, and calls with his grandchildren. But slowly, things began to change. It stopped feeling like pleasure, he said. It became a daily task. If I didn't do it, my mind felt foggy and unsettled. That scared me. I never used to feel this dependent. This is the danger zone. When a private act becomes a daily compulsion, it stops serving your desires and starts controlling them. You lose the ability to choose. It's not about intimacy anymore, it's about silencing a craving. As dopamine thresholds rise, one release turns into a routine, then multiple times a day. Your brain demands more stimulation for less reward. This cycle, known as neuroadaptation, can take over before you even notice. The consequences stretch far beyond your sex drive. Your desire to read, create, or connect starts to dim. Mental sharpness fades. You feel less motivated, less present, and more emotionally flat. Worse still, self-pleasure often replaces real connection. You may withdraw from friends, avoid intimacy with your partner, or lose interest in emotional closeness. Why? Because your brain has trained itself to chase only one form of reward, sexual release. This is known as neurochemical hijacking. It happens when your reward system becomes obsessed with a single stimulus. The cost? You begin to miss out on life's other pleasures, creativity, companionship, curiosity. The world becomes smaller. But here's the good news. Your brain can heal. It's called neuroplasticity, and it works at any age. You can retrain your mind to seek and enjoy a variety of pleasures, not just climax. Try spacing out self-pleasure sessions so there's at least a day in between. Add light movement like walking or stretching, which lifts dopamine in a healthier way. Reconnect with a hobby you've forgotten. Pick up a book. Call an old friend. Every small action helps your brain reset its reward system. Sexual intimacy includes more than release. It includes touch, affection, shared thoughts, and emotional connection. When masturbation becomes the only source of comfort, you risk losing the deeper layers of human closeness. These changes might be quiet, but their impact is powerful. Risk 3. Cardiovascular health. Now that we've explored how your brain can be reshaped by overuse, let's shift to a threat that's much more physical and just as dangerous. The hidden strain masturbation can place on your heart. Many even experienced cardiologists overlook this quiet connection between solo sexual activity and sudden cardiovascular spikes. Take Ramesh, a 72-year-old retired banker from Nashik. For years, he carefully managed his high blood pressure. He took his medication religiously, watched his diet, avoided stress, and stayed moderately active. Everything seemed under control until he began experiencing sudden tightness in his chest, pounding in his chest, and occasional dizzy spells. The episodes were unpredictable and alarming. His wife, noticing his discomfort, began discreetly observing when these events happened. She uncovered something Ramesh had hesitated to admit. The symptoms almost always followed a private sexual release. What many don't realize is that sexual arousal and orgasm create a brief, intense surge in heart rate and blood pressure. Even for a healthy man, this is a demanding load. For someone over 60, especially one with hypertension, diabetes, or any cardiac history, those spikes can overwhelm an aging heart, despite a well-managed medical routine. Ramesh believed his heart was strong simply because his lifestyle was disciplined. But orgasm is not the same as a daily walk or climbing the stairs. During climax, heart rate can shoot up by 30 to 50 beats per minute, and blood pressure rises sharply within seconds. For a younger person, this might be manageable, but for a stiffened or weakened heart, it's a major risk. Think of your heart like an older car. It can cruise comfortably along a smooth road, but if you suddenly floor the accelerator, you expose weaknesses the engine has quietly been managing. In the same way, daily activities might feel easy, But sexual release can hit the system with a jolt that exposes hidden cardiovascular stress. Unlike exercise, which gradually builds intensity and gives your heart time to respond, masturbation often happens in secrecy, tension, and sudden escalation. There's no warm-up, no warning, just a sharp physiological demand. That's where the danger lies. These risks often remain unnoticed until there's a crisis, like a mini heart attack or dangerous arrhythmia. As a doctor, let me be clear. It's far better to address these concerns early than to manage the aftermath of an emergency. Simple choices can protect your health. Moderate the frequency of sexual activity. Don't overexert during release. Be open with your doctor about what you're experiencing. If you notice chest discomfort, rapid or irregular heartbeat, dizziness, or breathlessness during or after release, don't brush it off. These could be signs of a heart issue that needs attention now. And most importantly, don't let embarrassment keep you silent. Sexual health is part of your overall health, especially in later years. Your heart and your intimacy are connected, and they both deserve care and respect. Risk 4. Mental clarity and emotional balance. While we've discussed the toll on your heart, let's now look at something just as vital: your mental clarity and emotional balance. Too many older men are unknowingly using masturbation not as pleasure, but as a way to escape. Let's look at Mahesh, a 69-year-old retired chartered accountant in Hyderabad. His sharp mind once handled audits and detailed reports with ease. But lately, his family noticed him zoning out, avoiding conversations, and losing focus even while reading the morning paper. "I just can't concentrate like I used to," he told me. "My thoughts keep circling back to the same place. I can't hold on to anything else." What Mahesh experienced wasn't mere distraction. It was the slow erosion of mental clarity that happens when masturbation becomes a substitute for emotional processing. After retirement or major life transitions, many men feel isolated, unneeded, or overwhelmed by changes they didn't prepare for. Masturbation steps in as an easy comfort, offering a quick emotional lift. But when used too often for that purpose, it stops being relief and starts becoming a mental trap. Each orgasm floods the brain with dopamine and endorphins. It gives a short-lived high. But when the brain becomes dependent on this chemical release, it stops learning healthier ways to handle discomfort. You might find it harder to think clearly, harder to make decisions, and harder to connect emotionally with others. Look out for signs like difficulty concentrating, irritability, or restlessness when you can't self-stimulate, using release as an escape from emotions or responsibilities, neglecting relationships or hobbies, feeling mentally foggy or unfocused afterward. The good news is, you can break this loop. Your brain is capable of recovery. Start with small daily changes. Practice breathing exercises or guided meditation to reset your nervous system. Go for regular walks. Engage your brain with music, writing, or art. Reconnect with the world around you. Reach out to old friends, volunteer at a local school or temple, or join a social group. These steps might seem simple, but they build emotional strength from the inside out. And if you're feeling lost or emotionally stuck, talking to a trained counselor can help you work through grief, loneliness, or difficult transitions. That's not weakness, it's wisdom. You still deserve pleasure. But when sexual release becomes the only comfort, it starts replacing joy, not supporting it. Rebuild your emotional landscape so that masturbation is a piece of your life, not the centerpiece. Risk 5. Hair loss. Mental clarity isn't the only thing quietly affected. For some men, the warning shows up in the mirror on the top of their head. In my clinic, I met Suresh, a 73-year-old retired railway officer from Amritsar. For years, he thought nothing of losing a few hairs in the comb. His father had gone bald early, so he assumed it was genetics. But what shocked him was the rapid change. Hair at his crown thinned drastically in just 6 months, and his once soft texture turned coarse and weak. He was frustrated and confused, until we had a deeper conversation. Suresh had started masturbating more often in retirement, using it as a stress reliever. That's when we uncovered the real trigger. Sexual release causes temporary boosts in testosterone, and more importantly, spikes in DHT, dihydrotestosterone. In genetically sensitive men, DHT binds to receptors in hair follicles and gradually shrinks them. This process, called miniaturization, makes hair thinner, weaker, and eventually stops growth entirely. Under normal conditions, this hair loss is slow. But when masturbation becomes frequent, those hormone spikes accelerate DHT activity, speeding up the process dramatically. This doesn't mean you have to give up sex or pleasure. It simply means you need awareness. Genetics might create the tendency, but behavior amplifies the effect. When Suresh saw the connection, we worked out a plan. If you're noticing thinning hair along with a high frequency of self-pleasure, consider reducing your sessions to every other day or less. Track your hair in a journal. You might notice change within weeks. Next, talk to your doctor. Medications like finasteride can help block DHT and slow the hair loss cycle. It's not instant, but it works for many. And don't forget lifestyle habits. Eat foods rich in zinc, biotin, and protein. Stay active with gentle exercise to support blood flow. Manage stress with relaxation techniques. Even emotional strain increases cortisol, which throws off hormonal balance. Finding joy in simple things, a hobby, a conversation, a prayer, can reset your body's rhythm. Remember, moderate masturbation is not harmful, but overdoing it in a way that tips your hormones off balance has real consequences. Pay attention to your body. Hair loss isn't just cosmetic, it can be a clue, a signal that you need better balance. When Suresh changed his habits, he felt empowered. Hair may not be everything, but confidence is. And knowing you're in control of your own health changes everything. Risk 6. Sexual performance. While hair loss might affect how you look in the mirror, this next challenge strikes right at the center of your sexual confidence, and its impact can be far more personal. What happens to your performance can influence not just your intimacy, but how you feel about yourself every single day. Men often expect some natural changes in their sexual abilities as they age. But what I'm about to share goes beyond normal aging. The hidden reality is this. Frequent, intense solo stimulation can train your brain to rely on one rigid pattern of pleasure. So, when the scenario changes, like when you try to be intimate with a partner, your erection may not respond the way you want it to. Take Anil, a 66-year-old widower from Pune. After his marriage ended, he wanted to explore intimacy again and feel alive. But despite genuine desire, he noticed his erections were weaker, fading quicker than before, and he feared failure with someone new. That kind of disappointment is not just physical, it eats away at a man's self-confidence, making dating or intimacy feel like stepping into battle without armor. Let's be clear. This isn't simply a testosterone issue or poor blood flow, though those can play a role. The real challenge lies in your brain. When you constantly stimulate yourself in a very specific way, you hardwire your arousal pathways to depend on that pattern. In real-life intimacy, where touch, pace, and rhythm are different, your mind struggles to adapt. Imagine your sexual response as a groove in a record. Every time you repeat the same solo routine, that groove deepens. When it's time to switch tracks, like with a partner, your mind and body get stuck in that old groove. Doctors call this weakened erection quality. It includes erections that are less firm, a need for stronger or very specific triggers, a feeling of disconnect or failure during partnered sex. Many men report they perform well alone, but lose control or confidence with a partner. This mismatch feels humiliating and over time can reduce your desire for intimacy altogether. But here's the truth. You are not broken. These changes are simply the result of repetition, and you can reverse them with the right approach. A simple action plan to rebuild performance: take a reset break. Give yourself 7 to 14 days with no sexual activity. Think of this as a reboot for your natural arousal circuits. Your body needs time to recover sensitivity and responsiveness. Change your routine. When you return to sexual activity, vary your touch, speed, and position. Explore new ways that feel closer to real intimacy instead of relying on the old, predictable style. Slow down with mindfulness. Focus on every sensation rather than racing toward climax. This trains your brain to enjoy the journey, not just the finish. Introduce partner-like stimulation. Use movements, sounds, or textures that simulate the variety of shared intimacy. This helps your brain reconnect with the broader spectrum of arousal. Shift your focus. Stop seeing orgasm as the only goal. Learn to appreciate the entire experience: touch, connection, breathing, anticipation. This alone can restore lost sensitivity and excitement. Your body, even past 60, is capable of remarkable recovery. I've seen men regain firmer, more reliable erections, deeper confidence, and richer intimacy simply by practicing these steps with patience and care. This challenge often goes unnoticed because it develops slowly. But just like a bridge that needs repair, with the right attention, your sexual performance can become even stronger than before. Masturbation after 60 is neither purely good nor bad. It's simply a tool. What matters is how you use it. The right approach can build your confidence, while the wrong habits can quietly drain your energy and vitality. This stage of life is not about giving up pleasure. It's about practicing pleasure with wisdom, making small but meaningful adjustments that keep your body and mind strong. Your desire still holds value. Your body still responds. These are not echoes of youth, they are living parts of who you are, right now. With just a few mindful shifts, you can transform private moments from something that leaves you empty into something that lifts your spirit, fuels your confidence, and strengthens your connection to life. If this message resonates with you, stay tuned. In my next video, I'll share a natural, 7-second method that has already helped countless men regain their sense of power, purpose, and sexual vitality. You might even feel a difference as soon as tomorrow morning.